we're waiting with super producer Dom Brady, who has literally created mega hits, and for some reason at this very moment he can't get his microphone to work. We're
Mega
not going to
hits.
hold anything against him, okay?
Oh man, you really can't hear me? You really can't hear me?
Nope,
What the
nothing.
fuck?
Let me make sure. Say it again.
That is very strange. Hold on a second.
No, you good. You good. You good.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I think I just had my volume turned down. Don't worry about
Oh, okay, okay. What's going on, Tommy Danger?
what's
Actually, hold
going
on, hold
on.
on. One sec, one sec, one sec.
Oh, that's how we doing it. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
need one of those yellow ones though, for real.
Listen, I got
How can I
something.
get a yellow one? How
I
can
got
I?
something coming to you that's so fresh. When you see what I got coming to you, and like it's probably gonna take about 3 weeks. I'm having it custom made for you.
Oh shit.
When you see this, you're gonna be like, I don't even want the bucket hat no more.
No, I mean that color, the yellow, that yellow kind of the canary yellow, I think is what it's called with the black, reminds me of when I used to wear like Helly Hansen jackets and that
Ah,
Nautica, like that.
yeah.
The
You
color
know,
scheme is really like that.
thank you. You know, it's funny that you say that because I was wearing the Helly Hansen jacket in the last video for Just Rap, the red, white, and blue one I had on with the red bucket hat. So yeah, totally remember that.
Yeah,
So
I need to find my gear back in the days, man. I think it's still in my parents' house, but I had all the all that stuff, the
you used to
fits.
rock like the Tommy Hilfiger and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, with the polo pullovers, you know.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
have those actually. Well, not the pullovers. I have rugbies. So at one time I was like at this job I was at every Friday we would wear rugby. So we would have like different teams and we would just come through the office and people would be like, wow, where you get rugbies from? Because Ralph
Yeah,
Lauren stopped making them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Don Brady, what's going on? I don't think the people have really gotten a formal introduction about who you are and where you're from. So if you wouldn't mind breaking it down to the audience.
Yeah, I mean, Dom Brady's my producer name.
Yep.
That's who you know me as. I used to. I mean, I started working on music really back in 1996 or 97, somewhere in late high school, and I got into music because one of my friends, his older brother was in a singing group, and they had a studio, and you know, hung out at the studio, just watched them, and I was really super like in awe of the process of how you can record or make music, make beats, and then layer vocals on top of it and do that. It was just kind of very interesting to me. So I just started hanging out in the studio, and then whenever the group or whoever they were recording were done, I just like work on the keyboard. It was an ASR 80 at the time. It was like the very first
Mm.
sampler that I worked on, and then yeah, just kind of from there took it home, the interest home. Decked out my computer with Cakewalk at the time,
Yep.
and there was also Pro Tools. That's kind of where I started. Then I bought myself a MPC 2000. I saved up money for MPC 2000, got some turntables, and really just messed around, and really at that time I felt like I was at the most creative, just because I didn't have a job, I didn't have responsibilities as far as paying bills, so all my time was just making music.
Got
I
you.
could just sit down there and then just learn the machine and spend hours really just learning and making beats. And I just keep making beats, making beats, making beats. I was also in a band called Urban Icons, which was a live hip hop band. We did reggae, some kind of progressive jazz too, but I was one of the vocalists there. I used to rap, and yeah, we just kind of did it for fun. We actually entered into a talent show that was put together by one of the radio stations here in the local radio stations in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and we actually won that first place. And the prize was to have a one song deal with uh, this label, and the producer was Maharaji. He was Sir Mix-a-Lot. Remember Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Yeah.
Mix-a-Lot's producer was trying, was producing or like engineering our first like recorded
Right.
track. But we were young, irresponsible. We just wanted to hang out, so we never finished it. We go to the studio, just fuck around, and never really finished anything. But that's kind of the story of my origin of music.
Gotcha.
Um, After that, it was just I started working because I had bills, and it kind of just went away. And
Gotcha.
I really didn't know the process of putting my music out there and getting people to hear it. So it kind of just went away.
Okay.
My interest went away. And 2020, well, actually 2019, at this time I already have a family. I have a daughter. I had a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old. The summer of 2019, my daughter was diagnosed with brain cancer, a brain tumor. So that kind of put my whole life in a spiral, downward spiral.
Mhm.
Was going through her treatment. It was long-term treatment, and I was really in a dark place. A lot of time just sitting in hospitals, things like that. So to pass the time while she was getting her treatment, while she was sleeping, and I was just sitting next to her hospital bed, I'd go on YouTube, and then I came across Illmind, his streams of making beats, interacting with his viewers. I also was watching Jake One, which is kind of weird because Jake One is in Seattle, and I was staying at Seattle for my daughter's treatment, and I was watching his behind the beat videos where he would be like, "Hey, this is how I made this song," and he'd
Right.
take you through the process, and it was kind of similar to what I was doing back then with the ASR sampler and all that stuff. So I was kind of started getting more interest into music. And I was like, man, like I wish I was still working on music. So I just started messing around with Logic. I bought a machine just to like mess around, and then 2020, COVID came, and lockdown. So we were all just stuck at home. I was working from home. My kids weren't going to school. It was the same for a lot of people. And some of the old artists that I used to work with reached out to me. Anne Marie, actually,
Yeah.
she hit me up. She was like, "Hey, we met 20 years ago. I was with Shawnee Bo at your place. We recorded a song. Me and the my group is thinking about working on music again. Would you like to see if you can, collab on making beats?" And then it kind of just from there it just started, um, just going.
So how did you guys meet?
Well, Anne-Marie and I,
Yes.
back in 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago, she was friends with one of my bandmates. His name is Shawnee Bo. You may know him. He's also a Squatter Knights.
Yeah.
And they came to my place in my home studio, which was in my my childhood bedroom. He brought her over, and he says, "Hey, here's Anne Marie," which is kind of cool because Anne Marie was part of a local R&B. I don't know if they're not really they're more than local because they toured with Destiny's Child and stuff like that. But
Right.
they were an R&B group in the San Francisco Bay Area called One Voice. That it's a female R&B group in the late 90s, early 2000s. They were big in our area, and he was friends with her, and he brought her over, and we made a beat and recorded a song. And that was the last time I saw her, is that one session. And I
Wow.
haven't spoken to her, I haven't connected with her until 2020 when she reached out and says, "Hey, I got your number from Shawnee Bo. Thinking of working on music. Like, what do you think about collabing?" and it
Right.
kind of just took off from there. Then I joined Squad of Nights because I was really, literally liking what Illmind was doing, and I like how he incorporated the whole cryptocurrency or
Mhm.
NFTs
Yep.
with the music, and how he's just like soup like pioneering stuff, and I
Right.
really like the way he was engaging with his community, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Yep.
And that's kind of how you and I met. Just us. I feel like you and I are more on the senior spectrum
Absolutely.
demographics of Squad of Nights.
Hmm.
There's a handful of us who are in our later stages of life.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and you and I just connected. I think just you reaching out and me also, it just what the hell? Let's work on something. If it
Yep.
sticks, it sticks. If not, then we move on. No, like no hard feelings, right?
Exactly.
And we worked on Big Energy,
Yep.
which was I really like that song because it's kind of like our first one, and
Absolutely.
actually it's kind of like a good landmark of where we started and shows our progression, our development of
Yeah.
working together. I
Absolutely.
remember one of the comments I made is, yo, your vocals sound like you were recorded at home, but you didn't want your wife to hear you.
That's probably true in this very same space, sitting in my living room at the table. That's where I used to record before I put the recording space upstairs.
Yeah.
Um, Talk to me about some of your musical influences because in your production,
Hmm.
your sound is very, very diverse, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So when you talk about the ASR 80 and the MPC 2000, who were
Mhm.
you listening to back at that time when you got those pieces of equipment?
Yeah, I was super big into Wu-Tang, so RZA,
Yep.
the very like simple one note bass lines, boom bap. I was super into Tribe Called Quest. They're like one of my favorite groups out there, and so whoever was producing them at the time, Dilla, just so many different uh, sounds that I was into there. I was big into Timberland, of course, DJ Premier. So those are my main influences. Uh, of course, the West Coast sound with Dr. Dre, DJ Quick, Dr. Dre. I was really big in that because coming from the West West Coast, that
Right.
was kind of in my blood, so to say. But I really gravitated towards a lot of the East Coast artists as well, just because of the style. I felt like the East Coast hip hop had the style, and then the West Coast hip hop just had the rawness and the like the funk. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So those are kind of like my main influences as far as music.
Got you.
Mhm.
So your influence is heavily hip hop influence, but
Yeah.
you produced an R&B album.
Mhm.
Walk me through the mindset of, okay, how do you go about doing that? Like, how do you craft a sound for an R&B song?
Mhm.
But it like the first album that you let me hear, I didn't hear a hip hop undertone. It sounded more like a pop album or like R&B,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So you're at the keyboard
Mhm.
and you're making this first track. What's going on in your mind?
What's going on in my mind is, holy shit! Like I've never done a R&B um, album before. How can I make an R&B album, but still kind of have my hip hop roots
Yeah.
in it? So even though it doesn't sound hip hop, there's a lot of like the drums um, that are basically hip hop, right? Coming from the hip hop background, and R&B, I felt like is um, rooted in soul. There's a lot of jazz and R&B.
Right.
It's just basically hip hop but smoothed out, right?
Yeah.
To me, that's just how I look at it. And even though I didn't mention Lauryn Hill, I'm a big Lauryn Hill fan,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel I kind of took that approach. She's hip hop, but she crossed over to R&B, right? With a lot of her songs.
Yep.
I kind of just looked at it that way. It's like I took a lot of inspiration from her, even though it none of the songs sounds like anything Lauryn Hill would be on. Also that and Mary J. Blige,
Hmm.
right? It's just
Hmm.
kind of how I pretended one voice was Mary J. Blige, and
Okay,
if I was going to listen to a Method Man song, um, you know, I'd have Mary J. Blige.
got you. So
Yeah.
you have not been trained in any instruments at all.
No, no. I mean, I did take piano lessons very young, but I just didn't have the patience or the focus at the time. I wish I would have stuck to it because I feel like it would have I'd be a much better producer if I um, had or instrument playing skills. So everything is kind of just either um, played by ear or played slowly on the keyboards.
Right.
Like I know music theory just based on learning it and doing some studying, but I can't play it. You know what I'm saying? I can
Got
play
you.
it, but not play. Like yeah,
So what made you look into or learn music theory?
is when I was making beats, which I thought sounded good, and then when I had vocals and like singers, it just sounded off. And what I found out is I wasn't playing in the keys, I wasn't following any like key or scale structure, and it just didn't sound right,
Right.
and I needed it to sound right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's um let's go through a few records. All right.
yeah.
Cherry,
Hmm.
walk me through that song making process.
So Cherry, um, actually, Cherry was a beat that I made. Um, I just wanted to. It was actually one of those things where I just wanted to sit down and make a beat and not have like anything in mind, like whatever comes to, at that time.
Mhm.
Just I'll put it down, and that's what it was. And actually, I remade the drums before I had One Voice get on it,
Okay.
and the when I presented that beat to Anne Marie, our original plan was to make a song and then pitch it to other artists. Because after we were done with the album, we're like,
Right.
let's just make music to try to pitch to artists and then have them perform it or put it out. And that's what we did. She wrote the lyrics, she tracked on it, and then One Voice, her group, we let them hear it just to get feedback, and they liked it so much. They were like, "No, we need to get this on our like we need to keep this." And then so we released it as a single under One Voice.
Got you.
Yeah,
Um, come back around.
come back around with Boulevard.
Yes.
Um, yeah, same thing. It's just at this time I wasn't really I didn't have too many projects artists that I was working with, so I had more time to just make beats, and it was just one of those beats that I was um, I wanted something with pianos, kind of like loungy sounding, but still hard. And he at that time he and I connected um, through Squad of Nights. We worked on some of the challenges. At the beginning of Squad of Nights, Illmind had these challenges,
Hmm.
and he and I connected on one of the songs, which I mixed. I think Heater made the beat, and we won on that one. Um, or we it was another winner too, but there was two first place, and we just kind of like, hey, he sent me another song to mix. He was like, hey, since we took the W on the other one, like, why don't you mix this one? So I mixed that song for him,
Right.
and then it kind of just came back from there. I just wanted to get him on the song. I felt like something smooth and something smooth melody, but hard drums. How can I get like he has Boulevard has this like really strong, like distinct vocal about
Yep.
him, right? His tone. So I figured he'd be a good one for that, and yeah, it turned out that way.
Got you. Um, Winning.
Winning, one of my winning holds a special place in my heart because it's a beat that I made in 2005 or 2006.
Really?
Well, the main part of it, the main part. So I recently found, well, at that time, before I sent you that beat, um, I found a old, like, what do you call these? Compact flash uh, cards
Yep.
that had all my old MPC beats. It was still
Yep.
the MPC format, and I don't have an MPC anymore, so I couldn't open it. And then just recently, been I found out that the newer MPCs can open the files. So I was like, oh
Right.
shit, what the hell? And I figured out how to import it, and I opened it up, and I was like, oh shit, like let me let me resurrect this old beat. And yeah, and then I sent it to you, and then it just kind of was like a perfect match, just your style and that beat was a little bit more jazzy.
Right.
Just yeah, and then you brought it to life, man.
But tell me about how you hear things and when you say, okay, so Tommy's over here with the vocals, but I want to bring Anne Marie in on the hook. Explain to me how you hear those elements in your mind before the rest of the world hears it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that's just like a intuition, I guess. Is when I work on a song, um the engineer in me, it's like I'm also looking at um like the how do I explain this? But the sounds, how they fill the frequency spectrum, right? You get your low end, and then you get your mids and your high end. And I felt like that song, the elements of that beat with the instruments that I use, plus your vocals, it was missing kind of like a high end and something more melodic because it was very repetitive, right?
Yep.
It was a repetitive type loop to it, and I wanted to put a different melody to kind of like make it soar. So I was looking for our some kind of vocalist, and Anne Marie, her and I have a great um, working relationship on music, and I just felt like she can, yeah. So she was like my first call.
Got you.
Yeah,
Um, the song you recently did with Becky, break
too
that down.
much.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So too much. That was an interesting one. Because I met Becky in Florida when you and we all the Squad of Nights went to. We met her at that Studio 11 or Rebel 11,
Yep.
and I spoke with her very briefly, and I feel like I barely remember the conversation because of so many people were just smoking up in there,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then it was
Yeah.
like foggy, right?
It was.
But you know, um, we linked up through Vibras, her doing the hook for Vibras. I suggested her actually
Okay.
to what's his name, to Boulevard, or
Boulevard.
maybe it was the other way around. But um, he heard her harmonizing to the songs that were being recorded that night, and he took note of that. He let me know, and then I remembered that. So when Vibras happened, we got her on the hook, um, and so we just kind of stayed in contact. Um, but after we finished that song, we said we'll hook up one of these on a project in the future. And then she reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm working on this new song. I need to. I've already written something to a loop that
Mm.
me and another songwriter she was working with, already wrote to." And then so what she did was she sang on a iPhone on whatever beat that she already kind of made and sent me that. And I took that file that she sent on her phone, basically her singing on the phone. I ripped the beat off of I took the beat off of her vocals, and I put that vocals in a session on Ableton, and I started using what she sent me out as far as the loop that she really liked, and I just built it out from there.
Wow.
And it took many kind of like uh, iterations of editing and her saying I like it or not. Basically, I changed the groove of it is what I did. I felt it was a little too like draggy, so I bumped up the BPMs. I changed the drums a little bit, or pretty much all of it, and then to top it off, I had my boy Josh Ikban, who's a dope guitarist. Man, he's
Mhm.
doing a lot of good things right now. But I had him just play on top of it, and she loved it. And then so
Nice.
I had her record at Brewery Studios with Riser,
Okay.
and then I took it from there.
Nice. Tell us about your music making process. So we come to your space. What's your setup? How do you start your session?
Yeah, my setup and my space is really very sterile. Is what I like to call it. It's very just all I have is my laptop and whatever plugins and software I use with it. I have one audio interface. I have an Ableton push and a machine for pads. I had a lot more. Really, I sold off maybe 40 to 60% of my gear in the past year
Mhm.
because I felt like I just had too much to play with. But yeah, pretty much what I do as far as making a beat is um, play with chords. Just find I try not to spend my time looking for sounds because I feel like that could take up all my day.
Right.
I'll just find something that sounds, pretty decent, and I'll just start messing with chords, get a good chord progression. Then from there I kind of start messing around with the pitch or the key. Like I'll change keys. Does it sound good in this key or that key? And then I'll start changing the tempo. And then until I find a place that feels good. And I may change it even later on. But
Got you.
from there, I just put a really simple drum beat. So basically, what I do is I get the beat just enough, make a beat that's enough for an artist to kind of catch a vibe.
Yep.
It's super bare, and then I'll send it to um, artists that I feel will fit it, and then from there have them lay their vocals, and then I build out the beat. I
Got
feel
you.
like the beat comes to life after the vocals is there.
But when I listen to the variety of your sounds, it feels as if I'm in Harlem, walking down Lenox Avenue, and some of the sounds may seem like I'm going into a bodega, getting a bacon, egg, and cheese. Some of the sounds sound like I'm going to Whole Foods, something's really crisp and clean. Then I can go further up, and there's Sylvia's restaurant, and I hit a little soul food. So, what is the feeling that you get that says, I'm going to do something pop, I'm going to do something hip hop, I'm going to do something electronic? Like when you're sitting down, how do you get in that zone for those different flavors?
Yeah, that is a good question because really there's no rhyme or reason or any planning. It's just what I'm feeling at that time, and um, sometimes I would like to I kind of say I'm a lazy producer,
Mhm.
where I'll just turn on something and I'll put up a preset, and the first preset that's comes up is what I go with,
Got you.
and yeah, it's kind of yeah, that's just how it is.
So, who are you listening to now that gets you excited from a production standpoint?
Who am I listening to? Man, there's so many. Really, there's just so many dope ass producers right now that it's just I really like Hit Boy stuff.
Okay.
Um, and I always go back to um I like to go back to the older producers for to tell you the truth.
Yep.
Because a lot of the music right now does kind of sound similar because they're all kind of following the same thing, what's popular. Um, and I'm really trying to find a um, a sound that kind of brings more of the live instruments into it. So I really like the DJ Quicks. You know, I like West
Mhm.
Coast Stone, who I'm working a lot with.
Yep.
Um, you know, I like those kind of producers that use um, live instruments.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I feel like it takes it brings out a lot. So I'm trying to find this fusion of the modern sound, but has that old school retro feel. Like it takes you back somewhere, but it still sounds new. You know?
Got you. Got you. So you mentioned West Coast Stone. Talk to us about what it's been like working with him and how the two of you basically connected.
Yeah, super interesting to work with West Coast Stone. He's like a big bro, um, big bro that um, just kind of makes you laugh sometimes, just because of just the way they are, man. Just a old soul, like super talented. But the way we hooked up was I've been following him since 2015. You know, he released. He's been from my understanding, he's been working on music for a while. You know, in Snoop's circle, he produced for Snoop, he produced for Nipsey Hussle, George Clinton. He has stuff with Bootsy Collins. So all that, you know, that funk like dope soul shit. And so I've been following him since 2015. He's kind of like the popping king, you know, like popping, you know, the dancing, pop locking and stuff like that. He's super. He has a big international following, and he kind of writes the anthem for that kind of dancing.
Okay.
And so I've been following him since 2015. I found him on Instagram, and I just, for the hell of it, wanted to reach out, and I direct messaged him and I asked him, "Hey, how much would it cost for you to video record yourself making a beat, start to finish, and to send it to me on a private link?"
Right.
And it was like, "Oh shit, like I'll do it for this much," and it was it was really
Right.
cheap.
Right. Right.
Um, and so he did that, and he started following me, and just from afar, just following my posts. And one day he like messaged me on Instagram and said, "Hey, what's your phone number?" And he gave me a call and pretty much said, "Bro, I've been following you and I like what you've been doing. I think you just need some doors opened for you. You
Mhm.
need someone to connect you with some people that are in the industry and are doing stuff."
Right.
And yeah, then we just started talking, and then we started working on music together, and then we did Positive Vibes, which is,
Mhm.
very
Yep.
kind of like old school funk sounding track. And yeah, from there, just working on, we just continuously working together, basically.
Nice.
He's expanding his work in video. He's doing more videography and stuff like that. So he's kind of like leaning on me on some of the production side of it, of our records. But yeah, it's like he's getting me connected with a lot of good people.
Nice.
That's helping. Yeah.
So outside of music, what does Dom do to relax? What does Dom find interesting?
Well, right now, my whole world outside of music is my family, my kids. As you know, I have three very young kids. One just turned 11. She's a seventh grader, the one that went through the cancer battle.
Right.
And then I have one who's 6, and then I have another one who just turned 3, so super young, all girls. So I'm a girl dad, and all my time outside of music is hanging out with them. We spend most of the time going out or taking trips. So it's kind of like we try to have a some kind of vacation, whether if it's like close by or we gotta fly somewhere. Just spend time and build memories, make memories is kind of like our motto right now, especially going through with what we did with Sammy, my eldest child. It's like we just want to spend time, as much time as we can, and have fun.
Got you. Top three dream collabs.
Oh man, top three. I think in no order in the three is to collab with Chad Hugo.
Okay. Yep.
who I know I didn't mention him, but uh, he's one of my heroes,
Yep.
being a Filipino producer and
Yep.
being part of Neptune's and being really a big part of Pharrell's sound.
Yep.
Andre 3000,
Yep. Absolutely.
just because man, he's crazy. He's crazy dope. Man, for the third one, I would say I don't know. For some reason, like if Prince was still alive, I would love to have collabed with Prince.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, and you mentioning your top three and the producers that you listened to when you started out, I can literally hear all of them in your
Mm,
tracks.
yeah.
And you know, as a point of reference, I always say you're up there with Pharrell and them, you're up there with Timbaland. Like I always say that. And and in listening to you talk about them, I can hear the influence,
That's crazy.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, it's amazing. It's amazing. To me, seeing where you were 2 years ago to now is just, pat yourself in the back, man, because
Thank you.
one artist to another, I know how we can overthink things or just feel unmotivated to do it because we may not see whatever we think is success in our minds, or low views, low streams, not making the connections. And you see people with less talent, even though we know music is not about talent, but sometimes it could be a little depressing, man. And you keep cranking them out, man, so kudos to you. Great work.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
appreciate you like working with me and being a good friend, you know.
yeah. Yep, absolutely.
I really appreciate that, man.
Thank you. Now I hate for it to seem so interview like, but
Yeah.
in my view, this is what you need out there, because when I Google Dom Brady, only Tom Brady comes up. So I have
Yeah.
to change the metadata so that we have more content that points directly for you. Because right now it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack looking for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know.
So this is going to be like broken up into little clips, and
Mhm.
yeah, we're just going to start sprinkling it everywhere. I use a program called Opus Clip or Opus AI, and I also may use something that's called Cast Magic. And Cast Magic
Mhm.
will rip the audio from here, and it
Mhm.
can create a full article, blog posts, and
Oh shit.
tweets, all with AI, right? So
Wow.
I really believe in utilizing the AI to squeeze as much as we can out of one piece of content. So we're easily going to get at least like 4 to 6 different types of content from this
Oh
piece that we
wow.
just put together in 40 minutes. Yeah. So it's going to be some good stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Man, looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
So that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I was just curious
Okay.
to learn about your mindset, and what are you thinking when you're going into a session and when you sit down to create something, and it's
Yeah.
totally, I won't say the opposite of mine, but like you have a starting point, whereas I don't even think I have a starting point. I just
Mhm.
literally whatever comes to me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you know.
And that's why I love working with you, man, because I feel like you kind of just trust the song and how it makes you feel,
Exactly.
and just go with that. It's like there's some artists that I try to work with, and they're like talking about where the snare is like hitting, and like the snare doesn't snap enough, and then I'm like, so just write, and then we'll fix it. Like, like
Yeah,
it's just yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think it's just different. I just look at it as it's a gift that we have to create magic, man. It's sort of like it's creating a good stew. Like you can create the base, right? And you
mhm,
can put a mirepoix in it, sounding fancy, carrots, onions, and potatoes, and maybe a tomato base. And now I'm coming in, I may be throwing in some beef cubes. I may
mhm.
put some extra adobo, some sazon, and some sriracha on it. But then when you mix it all together, we got this dish, and we're not
You know,
rushing it. Like we're letting it take its time to slow cook.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So.
As a matter of fact, if we still have time, I wanted to
Yep.
play something for you.
Cool.
Let me share my screen because I've been working on this. Well, it's been on my plate for a while, and I just finally getting around to just trying to, with the projects. Let me know if you can hear this though.
Good.
Just wanted to show you where I'm at with this. Can you hear it?
Yep.
How you gonna lose when you putting in the work? Make a little stash, stop digging in the purse. Watch how you move on anybody's turf. Stand on your word and you keep your family first. How you gonna lose when you putting in the
Stop that. Stop that.
Make a
Stop
little
that. Stop that. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it
All
back.
right.
Shots
And
fired. Boop, 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 boop. Grace, we got another one.
How you gonna lose when you putting in the work? Make a little stash, stop digging in the purse. Watch how you move on anybody's turf. Stand on your word and you keep your family first. How you gonna lose when you putting in the work? Make a little stash, stop digging in the purse. Watch how you move on anybody's turf. Stand on your word and you keep your family first. Everybody on the sidelines, plotting and waiting. Eyes wide open in anticipation. Won't hit the like button when the rest of the world start calling you famous. I knew that you would blow and they shall remain nameless. Wanna hold a little something till the next payday. But after 2 times and it don't go their way, I'm not your favorite cuz, and now I'm so fake. It is what it is, let me live and be great. Most can't endure with the pain that it takes. The lies and the schemes that's right to your face. All for the ego and illusion of the fame. They say keep it real, but they really pay games. Truthfully, a couple dollars make 'em act strange. $1 bill, $1 bill, I'ma still be danger. Brady. How you gonna lose when you putting in the work? Make a little stash, stop digging in the purse. Watch how you move on anybody's turf. Stand on your word and you keep your family first. How you gonna lose when you putting in the work? Make a little stash, stop digging in the purse. Watch how you move on anybody's turf. Stand on your word and you keep your family first. Good and plenty.
You know what's so crazy?
What was that?
I sent you another verse.
Did you?
That's the second version. So I did another verse before that.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Oh, this is the one I have for some reason.
It's all good. It's all good. It sounds dope. But I literally sent you another verse where I did like 35, 40 bars. And then I did this as a second part to it.
Oh, I must have not, man. Well, I mean, we could definitely add that, but this is the one that I had.
Yep.
And I was kind of wondering, like, why is it only well, with everything, it's about 2 minutes,
Yep.
which is kind of like the modern length of a song.
Absolutely.
But I gotta find it then. It's probably one of those, you know what it was? Because you've been sending it to me as sessions, right? Studio One
Yep.
sessions.
Yep.
So I was thinking they were the same thing.
Yeah, no.
And I didn't know that it was like one session had
Yep.
one verse and then another session has another
So
verse.
I
Yeah.
did that. I think I did this part because we spoke a long time ago, and you was like, it's kind of short. So the
Okay.
first verse that I sent you was just me rapping, no
Mhm.
hook. And then I wrote the hook and did the second verse.
Okay.
Um, if you don't mind, I think it'll be nice to give people a nice meaty, like just a little bit meatier.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, I didn't know it was there. So
yeah, 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 yeah.
I gotta look for it. If I can't find it, if you can, I'll let you know. You can resend it.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
just wanted to let you hear where it's at.
It sounds incredible. I mean, I think in listening to it, I think we've captured that element, or you've captured the element of old and new, right? It doesn't sound dated, but it sounds as if it comes from a very soulful place, right?
Mhm.
Which is different right now. Like that soul sound isn't really here right now as much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's dope. Thank you.
I'm trying to find a spot to put this part in, um, which is I was trying to work it in, but I'm having a hard time this part.
Gonna lose when you put
It's
in.
like
I think when you hear
How you gonna
I
lose
was kind
when
of like thinking of like the En Vogue intro. You know how En Vogue would like
yep,
do harmonies.
yep. But I
I
think
haven't.
also once you hear the other verse,
Hmm.
I'm hearing that as the sound before the verse comes in, sort of like a
Mm-hmm.
bridge type of sound and
Yeah.
marry the two.
Hmm. So you're
Yeah,
saying I should put this as verse two, right? Move this back as verse two, and
absolutely.
then bring the other one as
Yep.
verse. Okay.
Yeah, because the
All right.
first verse talks about how long I've been rapping and how I started
Mm-hmm.
back in junior high school. And then this
Okay.
one is talking about how people are perceiving me. And it's so funny that I'm saying that. I got a call yesterday from one of my cousins,
Mm-hmm.
and they asked me about something else. And at the end of the call, she was like, "Yo, I like them little raps you doing." And I'm like, I
Them
didn't
little.
say it to her. I'm like, little raps. Like, do you have
Yeah.
any idea how much time and money we invested in this to get it to this point? Like, it's nothing
Mm-hmm.
little about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is big stuff over here. So yeah, it's like I think, and this is a good segue. People will only, not people, however we project ourselves into the world is not, we don't have to worry about how people see us. We know that we're dope artists. You know that you're a dope producer. I know I'm a dope MC. If it takes the rest of the world time to catch on and realize that we have audiences, then that's on them. Like, I'm not here to sell my family on being an artist or sell somebody else. It's like, oh, I no, I fucking rap for real. Like, this is what I do every day. Like, you produce, so whether or not people catch on, it's like, but don't come to me later, be like, yeah, that's my cousin. Yeah, that's Dom. I knew you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Like, no, you didn't. You didn't.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of people see our stuff online, and the people who are showing us love are people who don't even know us. They
Exactly.
just fans
Yeah.
of what we do. But you got family and friends, they just scroll past your shit. They don't even,
Man, that's
but
a
you know
good
what?
point because I've been thinking about that. I'm like, dude, how come my friends and my family members they look at it, but they don't even like. But the people that I don't even know, they're like commenting. They reach out and be like, "Yo, this is dope. I might have it on repeat." And
Yep. And but part of that is from what I learned is because we're not making it for our family and friends. And we think that just because in our heart
hmm
we do things for family and friends, that little thing like hitting the like button or sharing it would be reciprocated. They don't look at it the same. I'll be petty because the next time you ask me for $1, the word is no. I don't care how much money I get. No, you didn't like a share, comment my shit. I ain't got no cash out for you. Okay.
yeah, 100%, man.
I'm fine with it. That's fine.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Cool,
This has been
man.
dope, Don.
Thanks, thanks. Oh, real quick, I also was trying to get Anne-Marie
good and plenty.
to sing this part. That's her singing it.
Yep.
So it doesn't sound so robotic, right?
Dope.
A little bit of harmony on there.
Yep. We actually we have almost the perfect dynamic. We're just missing that one person or device or mechanism to make sure that what we're doing is magnified to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I think that we're missing. Like somebody who's really gonna be the ultimate cheerleader, right? And be like, yo, this sound that they've created is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
So I'll take on the task of finding that person, or minimally I'll have to be that person.
I mean, we all work as a team, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at least with the opportunities that I've had, like I'm in that sync master class,
Mm-hmm.
which there's a bunch of music supervisors and label A&Rs that are part of that group.
Right.
I have listening sessions scheduled, um, hopefully throughout the course, and I'm definitely going to try to play our stuff to
Yeah.
them.
But even
Um,
beyond that, I want
yeah.
us to, at some point, beyond the music, I'm going to find out which merch companies do
Mm.
split payouts so that we
Okay.
can start designing products around what we're releasing, because
Yeah.
that's really the secret sauce to the money.
Yeah.
It's the music to draw them in and with the emotion, and then them getting something that they can physically hold on to remind them of that
Yeah.
emotion.
Yeah. You're right. It is the merch and the yeah. Yeah.
So, in my mind, I would, default to vinyl. I love what the Alchemist does and Rock Marciano when they do their drops. They're just so fucking cool. But that shit is just so expensive to do. Like, it's not cheap, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I'm also going to put the feelers out there to the audience and just ask them what they would like. Do they want sweatshirts? Do they want t-shirts? Do they want hats? Do they want vinyl? Do they want CDs? Like, I'll keep asking the question, and then we'll find a designer to like make some cool shit and just, keep experimenting, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's next for us.
I hear you. I'm with it.
Sounds good. Dom, I appreciate you.
Yeah. Likewise, man. Thank
All
you.
right. No problem. You have a good weekend.
All right. You too.
Take care. Later.